At PRSE 2026 in Amsterdam, we spoke with Emans, President of Plastics Recyclers Europe, about the current state of plastics recycling. PRSE is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. What does this milestone mean to you and to Plastics Recyclers Europe?
Let me say this. 10 years ago, we started as a very small event. We had maybe 75 stand holders. And now, if you look, it brings the whole value chains together. Yeah? From recyclers, converters, chemical recyclers to producers. So I think that makes sense. So I'm very proud of it, that we have achieved it. And you need to know, we will not stand still. We will do more. That is what I expect for the future. So that was already only our first 10 years.
How would you describe the current situation in the European plastics recycling market?
You know that we have very difficult years. And at this moment, it looks like that it will become better. Then we talk about price. And we see how very simple our future. The future belongs to us. That is what we need to believe. We need, if you look to the regulation, that we have to put more recycling content in finished goods. So I think that the situation at this moment, it is a temporary effect. And we would like to keep this kind of conditions, that we would say that when the virgin price is high, we can get a price for our recyclates. The question is how long will it stay this time? But by 2030, as I mentioned before, the packaging waste regulation will come, and the obligation to binding this requirement of recycling content in packaging will help us to have an offtake of recyclates. So at this moment, as I mentioned, it is not easy. Then we still compete with virgin, but at this moment there is some higher price for virgin, help us, but the future belongs to the recyclers. That is what I still believe. And of course, I am one of the promoters of the waste. The plastic waste is local, so why we not recycle it here, local, making finished good product out of it and keep it local. So local for local. So if we do that, I think that we can build up a very competitive market, recycling market on our own strengths in Europe.
What are the biggest challenges facing plastics recyclers in Europe today?
As everybody knows, the price of recyclates is made by the input and the selling price. If you look to the input, then we see a market price that we have to pay for our bales. And we cannot influence that at a simpler market price. If you want to sell it, the first what the buyer is doing, he look into the virgin price, and then he make a comparison what is the price of recyclates. So we're sitting in between these both markets that we not can control. So we have this input price and the sales price, and we are the price taker. But as the moment that we say that the virgin price go up, then of course we have an advantage that we can live with it. So, but if the virgin price is low, then we cannot move freely with our recyclates price. So we need to look at that. But say this, that the virgin price set the price for recyclates. That is the ceiling. So in this case, at this moment, we have an advantage. If you look to disadvantages in Europe, of course the energy costs. The energy cost in Europe is very high, and we need to help to work with that, and we need to accept that. Besides, the big advantage, as I mentioned before, is simply our opportunity for the outlet. There's the only regulation in the world where we say, except maybe some parts in America, but where we have a strong regulation and say the request for to use recyclates in the future. So recycling content will help us. That is an advantage. The energy price will be something what is a disadvantage for us. Besides of that, we have our waste, we have our infrastructure, and we have the policy. So what can happen?